Welcome in everybody to the North American Summer Open Qualifier 2 GSL group stage. We have the exciting conclusion of Group A here on the Salt Mine. I want to give them a quick shout out for allowing us to broadcast this game. We have a win or go home game here, Ferris, between Apex Mission Impossible and L'Art de la Guerre, otherwise known as the Art of War.
Absolutely. It's win or go home, like you said, Yanni. And for the Art of War, or ART, which is their abbreviation, they kind of need to be able to obviously win this series and move on to potentially win the tournament if their gauntlet hopes want to remain alive. But as for Apex Mission Impossible, they are sitting at 95 points. here in the total point tally across both qualifiers, and they are just behind both Ducky Getters and Polestar, Yanni, who you pointed out actually play each other today. So if you could elaborate a little bit more on the stakes there with the points, can Apex Mission Impossible actually squeeze into that top 4 and qualify, or at least be in that gauntlet spot after today?
Oh, 100%. They're going to need a lot to go right for them. So, first of all, they're going to have to win here, right? Obviously, you got to get the job done. Both of these
Yeah.
teams, Apex Mission Impossible, wants to get the win here. The Art of War has to just keep going all the way. Then, if AMI does get in, they need to make sure that they're keeping pace. I think that means they might have to win their first round. And they also need to make sure that a team that isn't already ahead of them in top 3 doesn't win at all, which is something they don't really have a lot of control of. And, one of the teams, Komodo, a big candidate to potentially go and win the entire thing. Do remember, if you get first place, you automatically lock an invite. It doesn't matter if you played in Summer 1 or not. A completely fresh team, like the Art of War as an example, you get first place, boom, you're in the promotion tournament, you're fighting for an NACL spot.
Exactly. So those are the stakes ahead of this match for both of these teams. Now, these teams have met each other before here
Mhm.
in this qualifier, and that resulted in a 2-0 victory for Apex Mission Impossible, as you may already expect, since they are a team who have accumulated more points, and they are the expected favorite based on just points alone, the previous way that this series went before. So we have an underdog here in this series, and they are looking to pick up for themselves a massive victory, not only to send AMI home, but to also continue their hopes, like you mentioned there, Yanni, to qualify for that gauntlet and keep their NACL dreams alive.
Yeah, and it's pretty rough already for the Art of War. So last time they faced off against AMI, they had to take a game 1 loss due to not being able to field a
Ah.
player, as Flocon was not available at the time. They got Meslo in game 2. They looked pretty okay in that game 2, couldn't get the job done though. But now today, Castle will be in the jungle instead of Maddie. And Maddie had a big impact in the last time that these two teams played. Yumichi and Barlow, who are a pretty strong bot lane, were getting pushed in by Baz and Pocus, and Maddie was the one who bailed them out. So we'll see what Castle is able to do for this bot lane. So we are into the picks and bans, already seeing Jace and Ashe off the board. That Jace, no surprise here, Ferris, because Flocon has played it a lot.
Yeah, and if you're a good Jace player, you can make huge impact in these games. And we've actually seen some Jace presence even in the pro scene as well, whether it's more in the top lane there rather than the mid lane. But nonetheless, Jace is obviously a very powerful pick. We are on 14.16, remember, and those Senna buffs are live. So extra healing, her W is buffed as well. So that is something that, of course, Apex Mission Impossible, when they took it away, they do not want to deal with that Senna pick as well. Let's look at the Art of Wars bans here as well. They have the Ashe taken away, the Rumble, and the Lucian. So two marksmen, the Lucian can be flexed into mid and bot. Ashe more typically played in the bot side. Great job of getting prio, great utility, high priority in these higher level matches across tier 3, tier 2, and tier 1. But what's interesting is no Aurora ban. And Yanni, we have a Aurora first pick. Decoy's picking that up, but is it going to go top? Is it going to go mid? Well, we've yet to find out.
Oh, well, I don't know where it's going to go, but all I know is the Art of War is probably a little sad it went over to the other side. Now, do remember, it is Fearless, so these champions will not be available once again. We'll see Misfortune and the Sejuani come over here for the Art of War. Last time around, Art of War did play that Sejuani in the jungle, so it's not just because they had Maddie. They see it as a pretty effective pick against Apex Mission Impossible, and they're going to counter with the Maokai.
Yeah, and Sejuani wants to go forward in fights, wants to set up for a Misfortune ultimate, that bullet time, and Maokai does a great job of disengagements. So Nature's Grasp can be used as both an engage and disengage tool. Bramble Smash as well can thwart these types of engages. And what better marksman champion to play if you are Apex Mission Impossible than Ezreal here when you want to play a more ranged and defensive style there. And that will be quite nice, at least in that regard, when it comes to Art's team composition. Now, the one thing about the Misfortune Ezreal matchup is the Bloodthirster Rush for Misfortune. Combine that with potentially Fleet Footwork, you can also go press the attack as well. It becomes very difficult for Ezreal to find an advantage in lane because of all that sustain. He's a poke champion. He doesn't have a lot of DPS if no engage is found. He has DPS when a fight actually breaks out, but he can't really poke that HP bar. So it should be a pretty safe lane phase here for Yumichi on this pick. And the Ezreal will have to find value most likely elsewhere when it comes to spacing later on in the mid-game team fights.
I think Ezreal will be able to find good things elsewhere because I don't think this Ezreal is going to the bottom lane, my friend, because Baz hasn't played any of it so far, and Zalt
There you
has
go.
played a fair amount of Ezreal, and we know that Decoy will play damn near anything in the top lane. I actually predict that we're going to see bot lane picks come out here. We are going to see that Gnar come in, so that does just put a damper on that, and it looks like it will be Baz's first game on the Ezreal in this OQ, which after seeing that Akali come out, I think probably was a good decision to do so. They're going to pair this up with the Leona, Ezreal Leona, one of the better combinations you can play in the bot lane. That Ezreal is able to get a Q off after Leona gets onto a target, and it's not blocked by anything. It's going to do a hell of a lot of damage.
It certainly is. And the Akali pick intrigues me here is, oh, wow. Now that we see the Vayne lock in here, this is something that actually we were looking at the previous matches between these teams. Was it Art that ended up playing the Vayne top, or was it Apex
Oh,
Mission
yeah.
Impossible? Yeah, it was. Okay. So this is something that Uni 13 has played before in this qualifier, is very practiced on these range top champions. So it's not something we see very often anymore. It had presence in previous patches, but it's kind of fallen out. Blade of the Rune King got nerfed. Stormrazor no longer an item in League. That was something that was used by Vayne to get lots of movement speed. So it's the first Vayne top that I have seen in a very long time. But back to the point of the Akali here, as we now head into the game, it's going to be interesting to see how well Flocon can pilot this pick that when you're playing into so much potential CC here, Yanni, with Leona, with Maokai, and even Gnar when he's in mega form, we're going to have to see how well he can find maybe some flank angles or wait out those key crowd control abilities that are going to hinder his ability to get access to that backline, like the Aurora, like the Ezreal. And Aurora teleporting around in her ultimate as well might prove difficult. So I think a lot of pressure is on Flocon here in the mid lane to actually find value with this Akali pick.
Yeah, the good news is he's got a couple of squishy targets, right? You can go after the Aurora, you can go after the Ezreal, although Ezreal can be a little slippery. And when Decoy's in mini Gnar form, very squishy champion, just,
Yes.
regardless of what items you pick up. The bad news is, however, you are in the melee versus range matchup, and that sucks. You can already see going that door and shield. We'll take a look. These junglers starting on mismatched sides. I like this. Castle can clear bottom to top to go help out his Vayne. You got a couple of options here for the side of Art of War. You need to make sure that you get this Vayne going. You also need to make sure that Flocon can stabilize himself a little bit.
Absolutely. And now we are underway here in the laning phase. Both junglers starting on the opposite side of the map. And so the typical meta right now, they aren't playing your standard full clear champions like Lilia or a Karthus, but oftentimes these junglers are actually full clearing regardless. And we'll see if any of them actually take any unique pathing here to get involved in these lanes early on. I'm looking towards maybe bot lane. There's lots of setup with Leona, with Ezreal, although a bunch of poke Baz has already taken already, so that might be difficult going forward. Already forced to burn the potion here, which is definitely a win for Art in this bot side. And like you said, Uni 13, sometimes when you play that range top, you need that added bit of protection there so that you don't die one time, unfortunately, and then your whole lane phase is over. That is sort of the trade-off. You have the range advantage, you have the early power, but if you fall behind, then the game gets really rough for you. So I expect Castle to be paying attention, like you said, Yanni, a lot to this top side and making sure that Vayne is in as comfortable of a position as possible to try and put the Gnar behind, to try and get yourself into a carry position.
Yeah, and one thing that I find really interesting about this game is Baz and Pocus being pushed up. This is something that they did against Barlow and Yumichi the last time they played, right? They played super aggressive in their face, tried to set Yumichi behind early, and then their jungler, Maddie, came to save the day, but Castle we'll see if he's going to do the same thing, right? The exact same game plan had played out where it's like, okay, he clears bottom to top. And then on his first recall, he comes bottom and he goes and gets the kill. So we'll see how that goes. Because the Maokai clearing top to bottom, it looks like the Vayne will be completely safe. So the only questions I have, or the only worries I have, is maybe Flocon just goes and pushes a little too far ahead. But honestly, if Lojaz isn't able to do much of anything in this early game, that's a win for the Art of War, because you just want to make sure that your Akali and your Vayne get out unscathed early.
Absolutely, and you always have that reliability in Misfortune as well. Yumichi is just going to be a bullet time bot where if you can find yourself good angles to get multiple members locked up in that catastrophic ability, then that is going to be a huge success for your team. A very stable laner, and even against something as aggressive as Ezreal Leona can be, a very staple combination here in the bot side, it can do a really good job of surviving and neutralizing that aggressive lane to then be a reliable force later on, even if maybe Flocon and Uni don't find the exact advantages that they want, or even just get out of that lane phase unscathed, just like you said. But now we see the crab trade is going to happen here, and it looks like a recall is going to be channeled here from Castle. It looks like Uni's in a good spot. Not really a gankable opportunity here for Decoy. Their dive setup isn't great, but let's pay attention to Lojaz here, channeling a recall in the Tri-Brush.
Yeah, well, they're going to get the engage on Barlow. Try to get out of range. Lojaz not going to take it. The last auto attack, but the Ignite stopped ticking. So Focus down his Ignite, Barlow down his Flash, but everybody else no worse for wear.
No worse for wear. No kills go down here, but flashes burned from Barlow, and only the Ignite was committed here from Focus. And Lojaz didn't have to burn the flash either, so getting some pressure down early. Castle's now here, actually going to cancel the recall.
Yeah, he's going to flash forward onto Lojaz to get the stun, and the last recall went off. All you have to do is get the slowdown, Yumichi, and you might be able to take down Lojaz, but the Art of War, they bail out on that play.
So you deny the tempo there from Lojaz, but getting the flash off of Castle is quite nice for AMI, because now that's a lot of gank potential that's removed from the Sejuani, a lot of gank setup that you might rely on to be able to pull off certain kills. That's gone for the next 5 minutes. So a lot of pressure will be relieved off of AMI's back thanks to that. And of course, Maokai is a champion that isn't going to hurt too much if the tempo is removed a little bit, delayed a few seconds there when his recall was canceled. So I think overall, that is a win in the books of AMI, and they're going to be happy with that.
They are, but the only problem is they're not going after the areas that really need attention, just simply because Baz and Paucus wanted to play super aggressive. But Lojaz heading all the way up here to try to make a play onto Uni 13. Good flash, and Uni 13 has nowhere to go. It'll be first blood going over to Lojaz.
And that's huge for this top matchup as, hold on, Zenith Blade almost lands from Pocus. Flocon will get into that miss there. The Twilight Shroud can be okay. And like I said, when you're playing range top here, specifically a marksman, you can consider Nara range top, but he has that melee form. It's very detrimental to die like this, and it can make your lane phase that much more difficult when you fall behind. And you said it yourself, Yanni, they need to have themselves, both Flocon and Uni, a stable lane phase. So an excellent kill. It unfortunately didn't go over to the Nara, so the actual 1 versus 1 won't be affected too much. Castle now feels, oh wait, hold on a second.
Between worlds. Flocon is able to walk it out here. Doesn't have to burn any summoners. He's going to look to collect this mid wave, but Zalt able to head up. And this is very similar to what happened in the one game that they played last time these teams faced off. The Art of War jungler came in, took 1 grub, and Lojaz and company respawn and take the other 2.
So at the very least, 1 is secured for Art, so they aren't going to lose 6 grubs in this game. 4 and 5, it's almost kind of like the same stuff there. 4 gives you those Void Mites instead of 5 like they changed so long ago. So at the very least, you get 1. And then you can contest the next one, and then you'll see what you get. Maybe it goes 3 for 3. Maybe you end up losing them, but at the very least, you deny those 6 scrubs. You get that bit of XP. So it's not the end of the world, but it would have been nice to secure all 3. So good heads-up play from Lojaz to prevent that take there. And now the only remaining objective on the map right now is that Ocean Drake. And none of these teams are actually looking to make a full commit to that. Now, Lojaz on the other side of the map, so Castle feels that it's his time here to start this, although AMI is aware of this play, actually not going to start it up just yet, maybe going to clear away some vision. And they're setting up around the river to start to take that. And there could be a contest. That's what they're worried about right now. That's why they're not starting this solo and just taking it right away, because they are fearful that AMI is going to get involved.
The last time these two teams played, it was a very late Dragon take. I don't think it occurred until like the 12-minute mark, but I like to see the fact that the Art of War all here and ready to go. Lojaz looking to link up with his bottom laner. Zalt looking to come from the other side. True Shot Barrage does manage to hit onto 2 members. Pretty quality, although Pocus is still level 5 right now, so there's no Leona ult. It looks like they're going to let Zalt chill in this mid lane, pick up those minions, and give this Ocean Dragon over to the Art of War. They might want a little bit of a fight. Barlow taking to half, the Grasping Roots coming out. Yumichi with a good cleanse, but nothing further here. They did split off the Art of War here. This is good patience from AMI because everybody's split. Yumichi's the one who's engaged on, and she's got no way out. She has to flash over the wall, but Between Worlds is keeping everybody trapped. Zalt goes from side to side and is coming in and helping out the team. Flashing forward on Yumichi, killing her too. It's a double kill, and Flocon will be the last one to live to tell the tale.
The patience here from AMI is actually incredible. They didn't want to start that fight before they had Zalt there in range as Decoy Gnar into, or at least towards the wall, doesn't quite catch the stun on Uni, but pushing him back. But they utilize that patience nicely. They say it's okay if we lose that Ocean Drake. All we really want is the fight. We want to build ourselves a gold lead here, and that is more important than securing that objective right now. There are other Drakes to take later in the game. And now look at the gold here, Yanni. It's 3K at 9 minutes. That's incredibly large. And Zalt was everything in that fight for AMI. That Between Worlds was absolutely wonderful. Incredible damage, locking multiple members into that zone and set up the team for success. And now it is AMI with, they are in that driver's seat right now. 4-0, 3K gold lead.
Yeah, it couldn't have been in a better spot, and everybody reaping the rewards, right? Baz B able to get a kill for himself as well, and just take a look at the gold differential that was just on your screen. It's a pretty big one here. The CS in favor of Baz as well. I mean, that's an 800 gap in the bot lane and in the mid lane. This is pretty disastrous for the Art of War, despite the fact that lane phase for Flocon went pretty okay, but lane phase for Uni has been a bit of a rough time, although did get the flash out of Decoy there. So, you know, unless you're going to set them behind a little further, as long as the Art of War can stem the bleeding here, they can still win this one.
Of course, it's not all she wrote just yet, and we saw Decoy burn the flash there in the top lane. Wanted to transform into Mega Gnar immediately when the flash came through, but something didn't go as planned, and that kill potential was gone with the condemn backwards. And so it's going to be Decoy without that flash for the next 5 minutes. The next set of grubs are now live on the map, and Castle is the first person here. Let's pay attention though to what AMI is doing here on the map. It doesn't look like they care. They're willing to give away 4 mites, although Decoy is going to be a nuisance and start to hit onto Castle and push him off of those grubs, while the response play here, Yanni, take a look at the minimap, they're going to dive bot.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Flocon's not here. The root coming down onto Yumichi. It was a great ultimate to at least get one, but the rest of AMI comes and cleans up. It actually ends up being a 2-for-2 trade because of the turret. Disaster, honestly, for AMI. They had a beat on that play, and they just forced it too hard.
I didn't realize that it was a 2-for-2. I thought it might have been a 2-for-1. I saw that Baz died, but I didn't see that Pocus died as well. Now, Decoy, though, able to actually just solo those 2 grubs on the other side. So it's a 2-for-2, but you get 2 grubs as well. You're still at a comfortable gold lead. So I think AMI, although that didn't go as well as they would have hoped, they probably wished for a 2-for-0, get out and take as much plates as possible on that tower. But nonetheless, I still think it's okay for them, considering the fact that Decoy pushed Castle off of those grubs and was able to get them the Void Mites.
Yeah, it was such a genius call too, right? Decoy said, hey, top laner's in base, I'm going to go disrupt this. Whereas Lojaz, Zalt decided, hey, we're going to move down to the bottom lane here to go help our team. And Flocon was up there with Castle for a little bit. He started walking up there, and that's why he was so far behind. But again, really a miracle that Barlow and Yumichi were able to make that a 2-for-2. Because it could have been a hell of a lot worse, Ferris. Now, at the 12-minute mark, again, they're still bleeding out a little bit of gold, right? They're down about 3,000 right now, which is a lot for right now. And a lot of plates in this bot lane going down. I mean, this is a 4 plates overall on the team compared to 1 plate on the other side. It's a massive gold differential.
And it's over a level lead right now for Baz. I'm assuming Yumichi's about to level up to level 8, but this is a huge advantage down here, and it's going to be very tough for Barlow and Yumichi to actually deal with Baz and Pocus. Castle's here. I don't think they're going to be able to find much out of this. But the main problem as well, and the main power source from AMI at this point that's looking very scary, is Zalt's Aurora. 3-0 has a 200 gold bounty on their head. Malignance is now completed, so Between Worlds will be more prevalent in these fights. It will have a lower cooldown, and we all know how powerful Aurora can be. Since she dropped into the game like many new champions, has made a massive impact, and we can see the devastation that she can cause. So for everyone watching at home right now, keep your eyes on Zalt and pay attention to how they impact these upcoming fights here, as we do have the next Drake live, and it is a Hextech Drake. Both of these teams surrounding the river, trying to set up vision and get control so that they can take that one away. And I have to assume that AMI with the lead right now are going to have an easier time of getting control around this objective. And does Art really want to fight this one at the moment, or do they need to have some time to try and get their power level a little bit up?
And they really shouldn't, right? They picked up the first one, so there's going to be a delay on the dragon stacking for AMI, and you want to make sure that Flocon can get a little bit more gold, but a little bit too aggressive on the positioning here. Castle going to try to dash out. Yumichi is the one who gets rooted, and she has nowhere to go. Zalt going back and forth between worlds. It's a double kill for Baz, and Flocon is trying to save the play, and he'll be able to at least walk out alive. It's 2 more kills for AMI.
You said it, Yanni. They really had no business standing around there. You're so far behind. I don't feel there's any real situation, or at least any ideal situation, where you can come out of a fight victorious here. And so they lose 2 people. The Nature's Grasp plus Between Worlds here from both Lojaz and Zalt proved to be a combination that's very hard to get away from. And let's look at the top side too here. That's first tower blood for Decoy, is ahead in farm over this Vayne. He's having himself a great time as well. It doesn't really seem like there's any part of the map that is suffering for them. But hold on a second. Uni going for a potential trade. It was close, but it's going to be Decoy getting out of that one for the moment. But certainly now you're starting to really get to a point, if you are Art, where you're saying to yourself, okay, if one more thing goes wrong here, it might just be all she wrote at this point. The goal differential is incredible for just 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. The good news is for Art is that once Uni starts getting into these fights, it's going to be a lot for AMI to keep track of, right? You're going to have to be aware of the misfortune. You're going to have to be hyper aware of the Akali, and maybe Uni's able to use the invisibility on the final hour to kind of like slip out the back and, you know, dodge out on anybody. But aggressively going for this Rift Herald, you mentioned that Decoy TP, trying to force off the rest of the Art of War, but Uni coming down to link up. Lojaz is here. It's a 5v3 for right now, make it a 5v4. This Pocus has linked up, but the teams are split. Barlow's low. Good Magnet Storm along with the Misfortune Ultimate, doing a lot of damage, but Between Worlds means Zalt will be able to pick up 2 kills and stay safe. Decoy is pretty low. He'll go down. It's a 3v3, but Zalt is untouched. So is Uni, but unable to close out on a kill for right now. Pocus is tanking everything up, but Zalt is doing so much damage. It's an unofficial triple kill, but it's Uni who still has enough HP to survive, and the rest of AMI will be able to back off. But during that entire time, Baz B has just been chewing up the bot lane turrets.
And this is a tier 2 solo into the hands of the Ezreal. That is 700 gold, ladies and gentlemen. That is incredible. Zalt's looking for a solo.
That's 4 kills in that fight for Zalt. That's crazy.
That is insane. 7-0 on this Aurora, close to a 1K bounty. And honestly, that was much better there for Art. They actually get themselves the Rift Herald. They get a couple kills. Uni was pretty big in that fight, but it seems that with all the good things that you may think went their way, it's still in favor of AMI. They get the kills onto Zalt. Baz, like I was mentioning now, with that tier 2 turret gold in his pocket, plus the CS lead he was able to accumulate, because the whole time Yumichi was fighting, Baz was farming up. Has 10 CS per minute, doing his very best Chovy and impression, although he is in the bot lane. That's a 50 CS lead, plus the tier 2 tower, very close to his Manamune power spike. This Ezreal is also now going to touch down on Summoner's Rift and be a major force in tandem with Zalt, and then you can't forget about all the CC that they have at their disposal. The next couple minutes here are critical for Art because they are going to be in a very dangerous spot if they look to take any fights on even grounds.
But hey, at least they got the Rift Herald, right?
That's right. It's something.
You're only saying worth in the chat because you're the one who got the Rift Herald, but take a look at this mid lane right now. Yumichi has to drop her ultimate and is getting CC locked to death. Lojaz just standing there. Look, he's back, and he's like, damn, dude. My ultimate just did absolutely nothing. Guess what? This mid inner turret has fallen. It doesn't matter that the Rift Herald's crunching in to take this turret to half. They're just getting so much on the other side of the map here. Decoy is going to have to stand and fight, getting close to Meganar, and here comes Zalt with that between worlds, and Decoy's going to heal up. Zalt picks up kill number 8, and there's nothing more that the Art of War can get. It is all Apex Mission Impossible.
It certainly is. It's looking like Mission Possible right now because the win is very likely now. They couldn't even get the tier 2, could Art, with the Rift Herald summon. And even if they did, it's being traded across the map. It's like if you're playing a game of basketball, you're down 30 points and you're trading buckets back and forth, you're still down 30 points. So trades on the map are worth it here for AMI, and they are swimming in money right now. They almost cracked the base on that push, but that is going to be the next objective for them. They still have a tier 2 to claim in the top side, so they may overload towards there, but they have so much room to play with. They have so many different options as to where they want to attack, and the next dragon is coming up. Now, they aren't that close to a soul, but they should be able to get this for free. I think Art would be crazy if they would try and contest again. That would be exactly what Apex wants, but the thing that is summoning soon here in the next 45 seconds is that Baron. And with the lead that AMI has, it's 7,000, close to 8,000 gold. You don't typically see Barons being threatened at the 20-minute mark, but when the lead is this large, you can definitely do that if you are AMI, and that is the perfect thing they need to be able to close out this game as early as they possibly can. So I would pay attention to their movements now after this Infernal Dragon has been taken, and you can see how desperate Castle is sitting inside of this brush, hoping that someone steps too far. Maybe Zalt, maybe you get a 1k bounty onto Uni, but that's what you're looking for, these desperation plays that AMI may not be aware of.
Yeah. AMI really good at utilizing their Baron power play once they pick it up. They get it. They have hard engage in their comp. Question and is answered. Yes. They love hitting the go button, winning a fight, picking off 1 or 2 people after getting a Baron, and then just ending the game off of it. And they have the team composition to do it. So Ezreal's Muramana is now fully stacked. They've infested the top side jungle of the Art of War. Castle has to try to get out of dodge. If that Ezreal Q landed, I mean, Castle's at like 75% HP. It's just a really, really rough fight. Now, Art of War cannot afford to make any mistakes.
Uni steps up,
it looks like Uni did potentially make a mistake. Ultimate goes down. They're going to be able to get onto Zalt. Zalt, very low.
That's 1K.
Can't find a way out, but look at all the damage coming down. Uni is forced out. Lojaz is soaking so much. Decoy is here, but he just went to Mininar. It's Flocon who's able to get 1, make it 2, and the rest of the team has to run scared. A 3-0, and Art of War have found a way back in this game.
That is exactly what they want, but hold on a second.
Yumichi! Yumichi's got to flash into the pit. Oh, that's so rough. Their carries are very low. Ezreal coming through. Ooh. Nice dodge there from Yumichi as Baz and Decoy need to try and find a way, using Baron as their third member to whittle these health bars down. It's possible for them to make it happen. Flash from Barlow onto Decoy. Baz is trying to do as much damage as he can. He's just hitting Barlow in the front. Barlow goes down.
He's Mega!
Baron's down to 2,000. Yes, he is Mega! And he's going Mega mode! The Baron secured for Art of War. Baz in a 3v1. He's going to fall. But Zalt has returned. No ultimate available. No, does have the Between Worlds available. I thought it was on cooldown, and now is going to look to take out Uni. Should be fairly easy stuff, and he's just rubbing salt in the wound now.
Wow. Well, I mean, that is the play that Art needed there. It's too over aggressive here from Zolt at the start of that fight there outside of the top lane tier 2. Gets locked down by the Glacial Prison. The CC is layered, and that's 1k that goes to Uni. They transition it into a Baron. They lose some of their lives thanks to the heroics there from Decoy turning Mega using Flash and then getting the Gnar into the wall. But the Baron does go the way of Art. They get that extra gold. They get that extra experience. They cut the gold lead down from what was 8,000 Yanni now to only 4,000. They need another play like that, but this is the spark of hope here for Art, and a critical misplay from AMI. If they waited for the rest of the team to step up and be there before they got engaged on, then that fight would have gotten much better. And the transition from Uni in that last fight was Bork and Rageblade. Now it's an entire Wit's End that's been purchased after he died to Zalt there after the Baron.
Second most gold in the game for Uni, by the way. So all of a sudden, they're turbocharged back in it. Flocon's got quite a bit of gold as well. Listen, if Yumichi is able to not be the initial target and just has a chance to get off a solid enough bullet time, listen, Art of War can win these fights. It's possible.
And you said it, Yanni. The Vayne is very difficult to lock down. And now Uni in the last fight was playing on a very low health bar, but still slippery as can be, going into that invisibility with the final hour, and is very tough to track down. And now with 3 items in his pocket, plus that bit of magic resist that he's accumulated, going to be taking less damage here from the Aurora and the Maokai. It's going to be on Uni's back here to help the team out and deal as much damage as possible, and keep your eyes on him to be the difference maker in these fights. Now, Flocon as well has hit 2 items and is 4-1, has a good amount of farm. So this Akali now, compared to Aurora, who has 9 kills and now finished death cap, by the way, maybe not as strong, but still a formidable force, still has the damage to take out these key targets. And the key to the fight wins is once again the layering of that CC, and something that Zalt and Baz have to be conscious of in the next fights is those CC combinations. If they can get away from them and they can play together as a team, they still have the lead. It's still very much their game to lose, but something to think about now. And maybe they've learned from their mistakes in the last fight and they'll be able to pull it back here. As 30 seconds to go on this Infernal Drake, I do expect this to be given once again and the contest to finally come through when that soul point or that soul potential arrives.
One thing to note, if there's going to be a fight for this dragon, which obviously we doubt, is that Zalt has flash and no other carry has flash. Given the fact that Castle's up here, I assume is not too interested. However,
though.
AMI is very interested in trying to take him down. That's going to be a flash gone. Uni and Castle are going to walk back into this. The rest of the team is going to move down to the dragon. Because they have the inside track here on Decoy, it looks like the Art of War is just going to push to try and get this top inner taken down, funnel more gold into Uni. A very smart move. Sure, give him the dragon. It's not really that big of a deal right now. It's going to be more gold going over to the side of the Art of War, slowly but surely trying to close this lead just a little bit.
Yeah, that tier 2 is massive. The likelihood is that if Art contests the dragon, they lose the fight, they lose the game. So the question is, what can we get instead if we are Art? Well, they're going to be overloaded to the bot side, making sure they secure that dragon. Let's head down to top side and let's get something for it. And that's exactly what they do. Just like you said, Yanni, funnel as much gold into the Vayne as you can. Approaching 4 items, we all have kind of forgotten how powerful Vayne can be in these later stages of the game. She hasn't been a champion that's been picked recently in League of Legends across any role. We've seen the short top lane stints, and bot lane Vayne has been all but dead for the longest amount of time. But do not, yeah, exactly. But yeah, don't forget about the power that Uni has here. And when you are thinking about the team fight strategy for AMI, you want to be able to use between worlds effectively and lock that Vayne in and see if you can track her down with potentially a sweeper to reveal that invisibility when she's in final hour. And let's take a look at this Baron timer here, 1:20. So we're going to see sort of a repeat play. Solar Flare goes wide, so does the Zenith Blade. AMI wants to look for anything to get themselves an advantage so they can successfully secure themselves a Baron this time around rather than have it go the other way.
Good usage of that Solar Flare. Even though it doesn't hit anybody, it's just to clear vision. but now they're going to engage on the Lojaz, who is soaking up tons of damage. Here comes the Nara teleport. Lojaz finally goes down. Between Worlds is out,
Nara's
but Zalt
big.
has to get out. Lots of damage down, but it's not only key targets. Yumichi is fine. Flocon is half HP. Uni wants to get back in there, but now the Art of War are completely split off. Barlow and Uni very low, and Uni doesn't have the movement speed to be able to get out. They can't link up with the rest of the team. Ferris, I think the Art of War is pretty dead here. Flocon is going to try to teleport to save this play, but Uni is making moves, and Pocus goes down. Castle rejoins the fight. Decoy's the next target. He's forced to flash, but the stun goes down onto Zalt. Zalt's going to be able to bunny hop over the wall, but now it's going to be Decoy. He may have gone Mega, but he's got no one else to help him out. Another Art of War fight win, just in time for the Baron.
And they're right back in this game. They could actually take the gold lead here, but I would even argue that they are the ones that are right back in it. This game is on even footing now, and Uni has been putting on an absolute clinic with that Bane performance. Flash Condemn to put Pocus into the wall and prevent him from being able to engage in that opportunity for them to pinch the rest of Art was huge, but now here's the fight.
Flocon is going to be able to get over the wall. Good blocks coming through here, but he goes down because of Between Worlds. Zalt trying to do what he can in this fight. Good ultimate from Misfortune to keep them zoned away and take down the Baron. Barlow is going to go low, but he's still alive for now, and the Baron did go over to the Art of War. Now the question is, can Apex Mission Impossible kill anybody on the way out? Everybody is linking up here. They're trying to get Barlow out of there. He's a little low. Uni is here. Pocus is going all the way in. Lojaz is on the backside here. Could get a little bit hairy, knocking people aside. Barlow's got to play bodyguard, but it looks like the Art of War will be able to walk it out. Down just 600 gold. They never say die, Ferris. This game ain't over.
It's not over, and actually, I think we have ourselves a potential Art win here. I don't want to cast a curse that maybe I've already gone too far, but my goodness, this Vayne is an absolute monster. They're playing as a team, though. Aside from just Uni's exceptional individual performance, as a team, they are playing the space perfectly. They're picking off Lojaz to start the fight. They are keeping Lojaz when he respawns at bay so he can't find the smite steal on the Baron. They're playing so well as a team here, and these fights are looking really difficult for AMI because Art is not giving them their win condition, which is that full engage lockdown onto priority targets. And at the moment, it's becoming much more difficult for AMI to be able to squeeze this win out of Art. And they have themselves at quite the troublesome position here. Immortal Shield Bow now finished on Uni. He's that much more difficult to kill. We are hitting a critical mass here, though, at 40 seconds because this is potential Infernal Soul for AMI. But Art is right back in the position where they feel they are more than comfortable to fight this out. And this is exactly the situation they wanted when they gave the other dragons away.
Feels like AMI hasn't really been in sync the last couple of fights. Meganar is going to get popped now, 20 seconds before the dragon. That's not good timing. It doesn't mean that AMI will be able to secure vision, but it also means that Nar is going to be in mini form for this upcoming fight. A huge loss. Flocon is going to be the one who gets engaged on just a little bit of damage. Good, Ezreal going to land on both members, and now it's time for the Art of War to want to go in, but Castle gets immediately rebuffed. Yumichi can't join the fight. Pocus flashing forward. Yumichi trying to find a good spot. There's a bullet time down, but it's not a lot of damage as Baz shifts in. Uni is off to the side, caught against the wall, and the Art of War, they are the ones who look all out of sorts now as AMI pulls it together, and now they're looking like that well-oiled machine they were earlier. That soul is theirs.
It's theirs, and the critical point, the difference between that fight and the last ones that AMI was not as successful in is because they were able to thwart the engage from Art. The Glacial Prison from Castle did not hit a target. It was a Solar Flare onto Barlow so that he could not go in with Crashdown Magnet Storm. The bullet time didn't get value. They locked Uni into the Between Worlds. This was their win condition from the start, and they got it in that fight. Now they have the Infernal Soul. They've finally been able to crack the base, so they have super minions to play with around the map, opening up different opportunities for them in a macro sense. They are right back in it, but it's not over yet. They still have to be able to pull off a fight like that one more time. But you're seeing now, as viewers here, the recipe for success for AMI in these fights, and that's exactly how it needs to look. Poke with Ezreal, poke with Aurora, and when the time is right, use that Nature's Grasp and Between Worlds to lock them in, and they have no way of escaping.
Yeah, and it's so tough just because despite the fact that Flocon does have some health, does have some resistances, he's still going to be taking a lot of damage, right? He's not, listen, this isn't Tank Akali, although, looking a little burly, right? This is not what you would call Tank Akali. Uni is playing squishy Vayne, right? It's just going to be really hard for them to be able to survive an onslaught. But the Art of War can find a nice engage before they get poked down. They can be in pretty good shape. They do have plenty of damage to be able to burst out low targets. That has not changed. We're 32 minutes into the game, and it appears that the Art of War has hit their win conditions, right? Flocon is very strong. Uni is very strong. Now it just comes down to execution. Can they fight through this soul? Can they execute properly? Despite the fact that last fight didn't go so well, the previous fights had gone perfectly. There is a problem, though. Flocon, as you mentioned, is in trouble. Has now been rooted. Is inside of the shroud, trying to get away desperately.
So much damage,
look at all the damage
though.
he does to Low Jazz. Look for a potential turnaround here at Castle. They're going to put all the damage into him.
Ready for the bullet time.
All the way in is Barlow, and that bullet time lands flush and is going to do a lot of damage to two members. And now Decoy's caught off to the side. Baz is the one who's getting engaged on. Zolda's gone between worlds. He's going back and forth, but he's not Hannah Montana. He does not have the best of both worlds here as the Art of War, a huge triple kill for Uni, and another game-saving fight.
Flocon is as elusive as can be and thwarts the pick potential there from AMI, and now they lose that fight. But do they lose the game for that? The death timers are long, but I don't think they're long enough here. I think they'll be able to crack the base. Will Art, Yumichi, and Uni pushing down this top side. The Baron, unfortunately for them, was not alive just yet, so they won't be able to claim that before AMI respawns and is back on the map to contest that. But at the very least, that's gold in their pocket. That is the base now cracked, and that is super minion pressure that AMI will now have to deal with. But we're getting to that point, Yanni, now that both teams have cracked the base. One more fight like that, whichever way it swings, the game might just be over. But we have to look towards this Baron now, and let's pay attention to what summoner spells were burned. Flocon has no flash. Uni has no flash. Zalt has Between Worlds back. Baz's flash is almost back up. Low Jazz has flash. So a flash twisted advance may be enough to lock down a priority target, especially Uni, who wants to be able to have that flash available to make those outplays happen. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. So Art are going to have to play very careful around this fight if they want to succeed 2 times in a row.
All they got, both Barons. See if they can pick up another one here. See how this shakes out is because the rest of the team, they're just in the mid lane right now. They have to take care of those super minions. Do keep in mind that inhibitor is going to be down by the time that the Elder Drake spawns if this game goes long enough, right? So that will be problematic as the Art of War just going to try to regain whatever mid control they can at this point. They are strong. Their win conditions are online. Uni is full build. The engage goes down. Pocus gets blown up, but he's still alive for right now. The team is split. Result is doing what he can, but he just takes so much damage. Pocus is down. Decoy is going to be the next target. He will go Mega here, but he does not fall. It's a 5v4. Not too many opportunities to heal up. We'll see what the Art of War wants to do. Looks like it might just be a clear vision angle.
And it's tough for Pocus right now to be able to be the front line that they want to be. You want to be able to stand in front of your team and protect them, but this Leona is level 11 right now, compared to Barlow's level 14, unless Pocus leveled up off screen to level 12 before they died. But this Leona is very underleveled, very squishy, not a ton of armor in hand either. It's the Swifty boots that have been purchased. Warmog's armor doesn't give any armor and MR. Yeah, it's a level 11 Leona. And so Pocus is having a very hard time against these high level carries, level 18 Vayne and Akali, the bullet time 3-item MF. It's getting very difficult for him to be able to find opportunities here, and that was sort of the crutch there for AMI in that fight. And it's something that Art can exploit further in this game, is that lack of tank ability there from Pocus to be able to get a significant engage. But now we come right back to where we started here, Yanni, with a potential fight breaking out now.
Uni was the one who got engaged on, but he's just fine. Yumichi is stuck, but it's another great bullet time, ripping them apart. Low Jazz gets there too late. On the other side, Flocon able to use the perfect execution to find a way out. And now Decoy, he's going to be the target. He's run out of space. He's still alive for right now as Castle's going to try to chase him down. Now Baz is going to be the next target, and his health bar just gets chewed up by Uni. Will be able to survive somehow, some way. Only 3 deaths The Art of War will be able to take the mid turret, and it looks like the Baron will be next.
Yeah, they're engaging into that bullet time. It just doesn't seem very optimal for AMI. I feel like they need to be more patient here and be willing to wait out and bait Art into a unfavorable fight, because when they engage, it seems that things just simply aren't going their way. Now the Baron will fall for them, but this doesn't mean a whole lot unless they decide to play on the map. Now, what I mean by that is there is going to be a fight over this Elder Dragon,
It's a
and
quick
this
play,
also
too.
could be a potential rush here for AMI, but nonetheless, they're not able to use this Baron until this Elder goes down. And right now, Yanni, they are rushing to try and finish this TP being committed.
Yeah, Flocon doesn't have TP available, and guess what? This thing's going down real quick.
Castle's far.
Yeah, Castle's here, but everybody else has said, you know what? We have to give this one up. So a really heads-up play by Apex Mission Impossible. And I think that means that the Art of War are not going to be able to utilize their Baron power play here. Because, listen, if a fight goes poorly, especially with this execution, we've seen how low these members are getting. It's over for you. So a nice play there to be able to make a game-saving take, to be honest.
And the biggest question is, what can AMI do with this Elder? We all know the ideal case. They force a fight, and with their executions, they have enough gas in the tank to put it over the gold line and make Art's Nexus explode. But can they actually get that fight to happen, or will Art successfully play the map right so that they have to spread their forces thin and deal with the side lane pressure that Uni's trying to create by hovering around this bot side of the map? So what is going to be their play here? They have only a few minutes with this Elder Dragon to really make it worthwhile. Otherwise, they're just stalling this game out for really no benefit. So now let's see what they do. They're grouped up here in the mid lane with 3 people. They have both Decoy and Pocus around the river. They're pinging onto the top side of the map. Remember, there is still that tier 2 that is alive. Now we're getting to the point of the game where gold doesn't matter as much. 38 minutes in the game, all the primary carries are getting towards that full build. A little bit behind is Yumichi, but that's simply the nature of this game. It looks like they're trying to force here on this top wave. That is where they want to be able to fight. And there's no side lane response here from Art. They're just going to face them 5 versus 5 head on and try and hold their base at this inhibitor tower.
I love that Ezreal, too, to chop out that wave. And it looked like they had an idea of deciding to, hey, maybe we'll try and fight on 2 waves. But am I just going to take the back here? I believe that's going to time out their Elder buff. By the time they get back on the map, they might have it for a little bit longer. I must say, I'm very surprised that they didn't at least try to go for it, right? Given the fact that it's the stronger combat buff.
It is. And honestly, it feels like they're a little afraid to throw the game here. But sometimes in very tight games, it is fair. But sometimes in tight games like this, you need that confidence to be able to make the game-winning plays. And so I feel like they could have tried to siege. But, you know, the other thing you have to think about is the lockdown from Art that we've seen in so many of these fights is very oppressive. And their siege from AMI, it's not the worst, but it's also not the best. And when you're sieging, you're setting yourself up for a potential death combo there with Bullet Time, Crash Down, Magnet Storm. So we're in for more minutes of gameplay here, Yanni. It's not going to end here, but it's once again, right now, Art on the back foot. They're giving up priority over this river. There's no major neutral objective spawning anytime soon. Still 2:45 to go on the Baron. The Baron and the Elder, though, if you look at these timers, they're going to be synced up by the next time that they spawn, assuming we get to the point in the game where they are alive. And that might prompt some very difficult decisions around the map for both of these teams when people are trying to sneak buffs. They're trying to look for buff trades, but I do think that Elder Dragon will take priority, like we've just previously mentioned. But this is about as close as it gets here. We have Zephyr complete on Uni. He is as full build as he can be. Doesn't quite have an elixir, though. I don't see that aura around him, that red Elixir of Wrath aura, but it's just back and forth vision.
He's got negative aura.
Yeah, he's got, well, I mean, not this game.
Yeah, he's got pretty good aura.
Pretty immaculate.
Could have had like 500 more aura, but that is not the case here. And
has to spend 500 more gold.
Yeah, exactly. And on the other side, Bass, he's full build. I don't think he's going to be picking up a Zephyr's. CDR boots on Ezreal, pretty good. Assault very close to getting that. Zonius completed. I imagine on the next back, we'll probably have that one done. And, for everybody else, it's a couple more tank items, right? It's not going to move the needle all that much. That, getting that last tank item isn't going to mean that, Uni doesn't deal any damage to you anymore or anything like that. So it's just a matter of who blinks first, who makes a fatal mistake. who is
Exactly.
not grouped up with their team properly, who makes a poor decision because they don't have vision. And right now, the Art of War have a higher chance of making that mistake simply because they're the ones pushed in.
Yep, they certainly are, and it feels like at this point, it's both of these teams. They're too afraid to make their mark here before the objective spawns. They want to be able to secure themselves a powerful buff that can be game changing. But wait a second, I might have just caster cursed the whole game.
Yeah, there we go. It's Barlow who blinks first. Good
Big
bullet time coming through. It's a lot of damage, and that means the Art of War wants to take this fight. Pocus is still alive, but Zol's gone between worlds, and look at all the damage that's being dealt. It's not going to be enough if you're Art of War. Too much for them to handle, and Apex Mission Impossible win the game.
See, ladies and gentlemen, that's how you get a game to finish up. You become the caster and you say there's no way they fight before the objectives, and boom, the game-ending fight happens, and it's AMI on top. They blow up Barlow before he can really get involved in that fight. The Between Worlds and the Nature's Grasp was beautiful. I didn't even realize it was moving through the team, and I don't think Art did either. And those were the conditions to put this 42-minute banger to rest. But ladies and gentlemen, that's only game number 1. But AMI are going to be swiping that sweat off of their brow. They have secured themselves the victory. It's now Art's backs against the wall here. 3-0 technically for AMI in this matchup, although the one game was a forfeit. So we'll technically call it 2-0 for them. They're 2 up. And yeah, backs against the wall. Again, full fearless. We aren't going to see these champions in the next game. It's exciting to see what the adaptations are going to be. But my gosh, Yanni, what an absolute banger to start off this cast.
Yeah, I want to give so much credit to the Art of War because that game was bleak. Remember, they were down 8K. They took a Baron. They were down 4K. All of the sudden, the gold was even after they managed to snag another one. They played a really scrappy game, and that's got to hurt them emotionally. That's got to be mentally taxing to know that you came back from down so far and just could not pull it out. Just one small mistake did it. And, they took a little bit too long with that Baron. That meant that they weren't back in time for that Elder Dragon. And once they gave up that Elder Dragon, that meant they couldn't do anything with the Baron. That meant that they lost all their vision that they worked hard to get back. And in the end, that is what doomed them, Ferris. So I have to ask you, what are they changing up here? Obviously, the entire comps are going to be different. But is there something fundamentally that the Art of War that you were seeing in that game you think they need to change?
Well, the first thing is, and this is going to be a very broad point, but their early game fell apart. So they need to patch up their early game macro. They need to make sure that they aren't dying to those early ganks. They're not falling behind in those CS numbers, and they're keeping up with the other teams so that next time they're not in that position where they have to come back from an AK gold lead. Then maybe next time when they make that excellent play that they did to bring themselves back into the game, instead of putting themselves on an even footing, they then are in the driver's seat and they can actually close out this game. So for Art of War, it needs to be that winning position, or at least a neutral position, come the mid game. And then for Apex Mission Impossible, it's being able to close out that game in a more clean manner when you are that far ahead. But that was game number 1, and we will be bringing you game number 2 after this very short break. And do not go anywhere, because with the way that this game has gone, we could potentially be seeing another game 3 as well. So we could be in for a long one. Stay tuned. After this break, we'll bring you game number 2. Do not go anywhere.
Welcome back, everybody, to the NACL Summer Open Qualifier 2, the do or die match between Apex Mission Impossible and the Art of War. We saw a crazy game that looked like Apex Mission Impossible was going to run away with it at the beginning, but the Art of War fought and fought and fought, and in the end, it was not enough. And we are here in the Game 2 draft with Apex Mission Impossible looking to punch their ticket to the bracket stage.
They certainly are. They are one game away from sending Art home, but we still have one more game or potentially two more games, depending on how it goes, to see if Art can bring it back to the spot where they need one more win and they can get towards that bracket stage as well. It looks like we're going to have the exact same bans here. I mean, it's the same so far. We're looking towards that final ban. The Senna, once again, buffed on 14.16, is not going to be played. And
That
then
is not an okay champion, by the way.
yeah. And then
You just build her
Lucian
magic.
Ash.
You just build AP on her. It's crazy. She heals for so much. I played it the other day and I was like, this is insane. Speaking of insane things, we're going to see a first pick Hui come through here. That one will likely be going over to Zalt. So he's on his mage kick right now. And, you know, with the last game on the Aurora, why wouldn't you put him on anything else?
Certainly had himself quite the nice performance. I don't know if you have the same sort of, well, it's a different style of champion, but it's going to be the brand response here on the first pick for the Art of War. Now, this could be played in the jungle, could also be put into the mid lane. Jungle is the more prominent pick here, but Smolder as well. Yanni, this is sort of a double flex we have here. We don't quite know where these picks are headed because we know that Uni 13 can play the Smolder top.
Yeah, and I think that's that might be what's going to happen here. It looks like this brand is going to go over to Castle. Castle, can definitely get a dub on AP junglers, and I think the Smolder does have to go top because, I mean, Flocon, he might go for the Corki, but Corki's been nerfed really hard. He hasn't won a game in the summer summer 2 on the Corki yet. So he might go magic damage here. We'll see what the options are later on, as we're going to see Amumu and Kaisa for the side of Apex Mission Impossible, and I like the Alistar pick here. Try and keep that Amumu out.
Yeah, the disengage from Alistair is nice, and the two picks in Amumu and Kaisa means that Apex Mission Impossible, they want to play a dive comp. Usually with Kaisa, you're playing dive champions. It synergizes well with Killer Instinct. And what better ability than Curse of the Sad Mummy to open up multiple opportunities for Kaisa to join that backline and get involved. So I expect to see champions here from Apex Mission Impossible to follow suit along that play style where they're
What
going
support
to
are you
jump
going to pick,
forward.
though? What support are you going to pick?
Yeah,
Leona's off the
that's
board,
true.
Rel's off the board. They picked Alistar, and their last two bans, perfect for the Art of War here. Who are you going to pair up that's going to be a dive buddy here for this Kaisa, as that Corki? Flocon needs to get his first win on it here.
Yeah, it's the Corki, like you mentioned. It's been nerfed multiple times. Yeah, the Nautilus is taken away too in the ban, so there's a lot of things that are taken out. I'm thinking a Mumu support here, Yanni.
I wonder if this is Skarner support, actually.
It could be.
I'm curious. The only problem is if it's not, and it looks, I have no idea what the hell's going on here. It looks like it's probably going to be Galio. No, I don't know, man. I think it's going to be Skarner top and then Galio in the support role here. That puts such a heavy burden on Baz and Zalto. There's so little damage on this team.
There is. There absolutely is. Yeah. So with that Galio lock, I think we're pretty certain about where this is going to be. It's certainly not going to be a Galio jungle. And then Galio top would be crazy. There we go. We see the swaps. We see the team. So the damage, yeah, just like you said, it has to come from Kaisa. It has to come from Zalt as well on Hui, but Amumu as well can also build that damage there. And on the other side, we have an Aatrox versus Skarner. So what are your thoughts on that matchup there, Yanni?
Um, it's Aatrox versus Skarner. Those are my thoughts on the matchup. You know,
Excellent
there's not a
analysis.
whole lot that happens there. They hang out, they deal some damage to each other. Aatrox is going to be able to use the farm a little bit better, but you know, I don't really see a whole lot going down. Even if a Mumu comes top, right? Like, Aatrox can sustain through so much as we have made it onto Summoner's Rift for what could be the last game of this series between Apex Mission Impossible and the Art of War. Art of War with their backs against the wall, and I think they pulled off the draft heist of the century, forcing this Galio into the bot lane here. I think it's going to throw a lot of things out of whack. So have an opportunity here, Ferris, to sort of set the expectations. You really have to get Zalt and Baz going. I think that if they just go even in their lanes, that's not going to be enough to win.
No, and I think this is a really easy lane for Yumichi on Smolder to accumulate stacks with the low range of Galio and Kaisa. Build yourself towards those thresholds, especially the patented 225 execute that you get towards the late game. And then you're set up to play a really long range composition with Brand and with Corky range. It's very tough, like you said. So we have like two conflicting styles here, Yanni, between engage and then sort of like a peel back.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Ferris. And, you know, with Castle able to just do what he wants, he's going to be able to clear so fast. If Lojaz wants to make a play happen, Castle can get there first. And as long as the Art of War aren't giving up kills, you know, by the time the mid game rolls around, they're just going to be A-okay. As long as Yumichi can stack up without a problem, things are fine, and they'll be happy with the way that this game goes. But Lojaz has started up on the top side. Castle going to start on the bottom side. I like that. Going to head up, maybe make a play on the decoy if he's shoved in at the time. It just seems like they're playing to their pushing lanes.
They certainly are. And yeah, it's going to be the path down from Lojaz. Dive opportunities are very good here. They have good amount of CC in the Galio taunt. They have especially post 6, Curse of the Sad Mummy. So this is something that AMI could look to leverage later on. They have to really find a way to punish this Smolder as best they can. I already talked about how easy stacks it is. Like that one there with the Achu hitting, that's one stack. So they're kind of on like a ticking time bomb here, Yanni. How do you think AMI plays around this Smolder? Do they look to pay attention to shutting him down, or do they look to get advantages elsewhere?
I feel like you have to. It's one of the weakest. It's a weaker member than Corky, right? So you have to kind of call Lojaz down here and hope that, you know, you've got enough extra damage coming out of this Amumu and this Galio and making sure the kill goes over to Baz, right? The only way you're going to get that far ahead is if this Kaisa gets going early, more than a CS lead. It has to be more.
It definitely does. Now, the one opening that they do have, and we talk about how much CC that they have, as Castle is here, but he's on a ward, and so Decoy will know about his positioning. Even if Smolder or even Flocon are very ahead, and they're strong enough to deal the damage, if they get locked down before they can deal that damage, that can also be a win condition here. So maybe they think their sort of strategy around this is not so much around getting the early ganks and the early gold leads, but just through sheer team fight execution, and they feel they can get onto those carries. So I'll ask you, how do you prevent the Dream Engage here from Apex Mission Impossible if you're Art?
I mean, Barlow's got to be the first person to get in the face of Lojaz. The only problem is, if you're doing that, you don't really have a way in. You have to kind of brute force your way in with Aatrox. And if Barlow is the one going in first, that means that your backline is completely exposed, right? And It's just a matter of how quickly the side of AMI would be able to blow up these targets. The problem is they don't have that. That's not in their damage profile. So it feels like it's going to be a really tough time for them to do anything. But if AMI does get those perfect engages off, right, and they have the ability to do so, these abilities aren't necessarily hard to chain together. They can certainly win the fights. And, if they get far ahead enough, win the game.
Yeah, and there's also the Faded Ashes that's been purchased here from
Yep.
Lojaz. And so we're going to have a damage item off the start. I believe it will be Leandri's Torment.
Yep. It's the
And
most
so,
common buy on a Mumu with the highest win rate in Diamond and above.
yeah, so that will be a little bit of extra damage for them. And then part of that burst can come through their Amumu. So they do, like, again, they have 2 damage dealers, but I feel like they have enough on the table, maybe not as much as Art does. But again, it's all about whether it's about like sort of whether you can get that engage off or not. And if you can't, then potentially when things don't go your way, that is when AMI's damage is going to be an issue.
Really interesting here. Flocon teleported back and then shoved the wave and then backed. So Zalt getting the teleport in, and it looks like they're just going to bounce waves here, but it does mean Zalt has the first move. Castle down here clearing a ward. So this could be a potential 4v3 here. Focus Baz one away in, so does Lojaz. First target's going to be Barlow, knock-up coming down, and Zalt is in the area. Lojaz forced to flash away, but it's going to be first blood going over to Baz, and Lojaz will live. Exactly what the doctor ordered for AMI.
Certainly, the kill goes on to Baz. Now Zalt and Flocon going to be trading some damage here in the river, trying to prevent Hui from getting back, maybe miss a little bit of minions. But that's a great start for them, and they want to continue that trend towards this game. But here we go, Castle's found him.
Yeah, it looks like Zalt will be okay for now. The question is, can he survive Flocon getting in his face like this? He is going to have to flash away. So Zalt will be kicking himself for being a little extra greedy.
Yeah, it was an awkward position when he was zoned away from the lane access by Flocon, and then Castle was able to wrap around to be able to pinch him there. So no flash on Hui. Now, can Art actually take advantage of that as Pocus is caught out as well?
Pocus is taunt, and he couldn't get away with the knock-up, so now Barlow's here, which means Pocus is going to get stunned. This is going to be free real estate for Castle.
That's a big kill to get back, and it's on the right target too. The response will be Lojaz on the Void Grubs. Now, when they see that these are being taken, will a play be made onto the Drake right away, or will Castle continue to just try and outpace the Amumu and continue
they want
to
to
get the
dive
kills?
Zalt. I love this.
Do.
Barlow.
No flash.
Barlow does have the Hex Flash available, so he's ready to go over the wall, and it's time. He's going to tank the turret first. Flocon going to go in, and just a little bit of mistiming there. Not able to get the job done. Lojaz is here. Yeah, he's only level 5, though, so now he's level 6, but I still don't think they're going to be able to do anything regardless.
I liked Zalt's positioning around the tower. He positioned himself towards the top side. Therefore, if a Hex Flash from Barlow came through, then he wasn't in range to immediately use his Headbutt Pulverize combo, which would definitely have spelled death there for Zalt. So I like the positioning there, able to avoid a potential play for Art in that regard. But yeah, top side, just like you said, hold on. There's a skewer.
Yeah, the Impale is here, but Uni has popped the World Ender, and Decoy goes in, misses one of the Qs. However, the sustain, is it going to be enough? Good flash from Decoy means that Uni has to walk away.
I'm very close. And I swear, just as I was just about to say, oh my goodness.
Oh, Lojaz is in so much trouble. Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to go down. I don't think it's going to be enough. No, wait a minute. Castle was the one who gets stunned, but Uni is in, and he's going to reap the rewards with a double kill.
Yeah, and that's an excellent catch there from Castle. Unfortunately, loses his life. That damage from the Amumu was a bit overwhelming, but Uni's there to capitalize. Remember, no flash on Decoy to get out of that once he committed himself to the kill onto Castle. So overall, a win there for Art, and we'll see how much Uni can get from this now 2-kill advantage that he has.
Plus this punch in, it's going to split Yumichi off, which means, well, Baz had an opportunity to get a little bit of damage in, but could not get his Q off, so no harm, no foul down there, but 2 kills going over to Uni up on the top side. That is exactly what the Art of War needed, because getting this Aatrox, one of the members, to be ahead and be able to match some power in the mid game, very important before Yumichi gets fully stacked.
Certainly, and now Lojaz here, clearing away that scuttle. Remember, it was 3 grubs that went the way of AMI as Okay, hold on a second. Flocon, Valkyrie away. They have control of the river. The Drake is live, back being channeled here from Castle. They have the priority here, and they have their lanes pushed up, both mid and bot, but not yet ready to pull the trigger on this objective. The pink ward there too, or the control ward rather, to have full control. Maybe here, Yanni, they want to try and bait a fight around this objective first before they just take it away. That could be the mindset.
Yeah, and the thing is, if they go and do the dragon, that means that, Arc gets to push in the spot lane. Yumichi gets free stacks, right? And right here, what AMI is doing, just making sure that you can keep the Smolder off these stacks for as long as possible. There's 3 stacks that Yumichi is not able to pick up. And he picks up 3 there, but listen, 3 is half a 6, and there's 6 minions in your average minion wave. Now, there's 6 people in the spot lane here because the play has gone. Mom coming through, trying to do a little bit of healing. Yumichi, very low on mana. Low Jazz is here. Curse of the Sad Mummy is available if he wants to go in, but Arlo popping his ultimate. Flocon is on his way down, a little low on mana. Zalt on a back with no TP, but it doesn't look like there'll be any further fighting here.
Yeah, maybe some caution from AMI. They know that Flocon had the first step and teleport advantage in that play, so potentially keeping that in the back of their minds there. They don't want to step too far forward. The last thing they want is a triple kill from Smolder, but there's an impale.
Oh, get him in that turret, baby! Look at Decoy making it happen. Yep, that last turret shot gonna be enough. Really smooth play there from the Skarner, to smooth brain play out of Uni.
Exactly.
No
and
offense, no offense. It was just
seems that that 2-kill advantage, it didn't really, or sorry, at least a 1-kill advantage, didn't matter a whole lot there, because that's an excellent solo kill that came through. That's going to help Decoy in this matchup here get himself some more gold and be able to hold the lane against the Aatrox there. So nice kill there. Going to be canceling backs. And it's the dragon that's now being started here for AMI. They have control over every objective thus far, although the next trio of grubs is alive, and we see blue pings, the question mark there. So they're not aware of where Castle is at the moment, and I do believe with that ping on his way, this will be the trade across the map.
Yeah, Flocon TPing to the mid lane, Uni getting to the top lane first, means that it should be 3 grubs apiece. Now the question is, does AMI want to move up? They've been really good at moving up to those grubs as a unit. Castle does a lot of damage to them, though. Decoy hops over the wall. It's going to be 2 going over to the way of the Art of War. Coming in as Pocus. Decoy wants to get in there. He's a little low. Low Jazz with a great bandage toss and an even better Curse of the Sad Mummy. And Uni will fall on top of it. A double kill for Low Jazz. Barlow is here. He's trying to play goaltender, trying to make sure that Flocon can stay alive. Zalt's going to flash over the wall to try to finish him off, and Pocus is going to fall. Decoy's a little low. It's a 3v2, but the health bars are low. The mana bar on Zalt is also non-existent. It does look like Apex Mission Impossible will be able to walk away.
Oh my goodness, Barlow.
Blackfire Torch!
What the hell?
Blackfire Torch, baby! Bang!
Now it's a 3-for-1. I was going to say 2-for-1, and they get 4 Void Bites. That's a great situation, but now they get another kill on top, and Baz is looking for the solo kill here. Has Killer Instinct.
Oh, misses, but does have that ultimate available to be able to hop over. I'm surprised that Baz didn't go for that, but I think it's because he saw Castle hop on a ward. Really nice play by Castle to move down, help out your AD carry. Listen, Smolder weak, we know. Smolder weak at this point in the game, but Smolder be strong soon.
Smolder is strong, although Kaisa is stronger in an isolated incident there where you have your isolated Acathian Rain plus the upgrade which is soon to come. Once you get the pickaxe after Kraken Slayer, you have 100 bonus AD and that upgraded Acathian Rain happens. So pay attention to when we have future 1v1 exchanges between these two, and you might see Baz start to dominate.
It will get a little spicy. Uni gets pulled under the turret, but hadn't done any damage to Decoy, so he's alright. And as that Impale goes on a long cooldown. Uni now just hitting level 10. Decoy just a little bit further ahead and seems to be doing fairly fine in these 1v1s, but Uni's sustain is just a little too much right now.
Well, it is the HP advantage for Decoy, doing his best to dodge away from those sweet spots. But yeah, one sweet spot's going to give Uni a lot of health. No healing reduction yet from Decoy, so you always have to respect that from Aatrox, especially when World Ender is used and amplifies that healing. Low Jazz is here around the bot side. The Rift Herald is alive, and Castle's on that side of the map. So they're toying with a potential play here in the bot lane, and Yumichi must be a little bit nervous, and so is Barlow there. They don't quite know where that Amumu is. They are always trying to understand where that next bandage toss could be coming from.
Oh,
And
Castle
Decoy,
snuck all the way in.
yes, he did. Not aware.
Yeah, Decoy wants to go after Uni, but once Decoy walks up to this wave, the dude's just going to get stunned and he's going to die. It depends on which side he's going to stay on. He's on the proper side of the minions right now, but he's got no idea. He's gone to the wrong side, and he's going to get blown up. He's forced to flash away. Is it going to be enough? The last auto will get the job done. That's Castle picking up kill number 2. The immediate rotation to the Rift Herald, but look at the mid lane. Spiraling Displayer. Good flash from Flocon. He will stay alive, but that also means that Low Jazz and Zalt can move over.
So they can deny the Herald, but it's a 1-for-0 kill. They did burn Flocon's flash. They also got Decoy's flash plus the kill. Uni here is overextended, but there's no one here to help Low Jazz for the moment. Does have ult, though.
Zalt is moving over. Nice dodge there from Uni. He's just got to dodge the second bandage toss here. And Low Jazz is going to walk up and just curse of the sad mummy him, lock him up for days. And Zalt able to pick up a second.
That artillery shot there from Zalt, that does a lot of damage. I was really surprised. But here's Decoy, though.
Yeah, Flocon thought he was safe, but he is not. And he gets slammed up against the wall. The goth Dami Mami note is Decoy getting the kill.
Yeah, paying for his sins in the top side and getting the kill back there. Flocon was not aware of that teleport flank, so this is going to be Rift Herald now for AMI. We still have 45 seconds on this next Drake spawn, so that will be enough time for AMI to get back down to the bot side if they want to contest that, which I'm certain at this point they would like to contest everything that they would like. And they're in a pretty solid spot for themselves. Maybe not the biggest lead in the world, simply not as big, certainly not as big as last time, but I think they're happy with the spot they're in, Yanni.
Yeah, looking pretty solid. You know, we talked about how they need to get more than just a little bit ahead, right? Baz has small CS lead and a kill. Good. You'd like to have a second one, but that's okay. Zalt doing wonders in this mid lane, 2-0-2. You know, hasn't all been in the mid lane, but has been moving around really well. Him and Low Jazz have been playing like a good unit together. You take a look at the gold differential. It's 500 in the bot lane. It's, you know, it's what, 600, 700 in the mid lane. It's exactly what happened last time for AMI. Art was able to turn it around a little bit. Now the question is, we got 130 smolder stacks right now, so we're still a little ways away near the 17-minute mark of the game. That is a really good job by AMI to keep Yumichi down and put proper attention in the bottom lane. So they're going to put some attention in the mid lane here, taunt to Flocon, but he'll get out. Dragon secured, and we'll have an Ocean Soul, which I'm sure many members will be happy with. And Uni going to heal up just enough to be able to survive. But these trades are getting a little rough here as Decoy's at least out of mana for now, but he really wants to get the solo kill.
Those rock tosses dealing a lot of damage, forcing the Aatrox back as Barlow could be caught here.
Barlow in a little bit of trouble, did pop his ultimate, so he's pretty healthy. He's just getting whittled down just a little bit, but Castle here to back him up. And it's just really hard because it feels like at this point in time, it feels like AMI can play with 4 members of their team. And, you know, the Art of War, they can only play with 3 members right now because Uni's wrapped up in that top lane, because Yumichi is wrapped up in this bottom lane trying to hit stack breakpoints.
Yeah, and here comes the Herald. They want to crack the mid lane tower so that they can have more opportunities to play aggressive. When that tower is gone, your opportunities open up for themselves. So this is an excellent take here from AMI. This is going to further increase their ability to extend this very small lead that they have. And keep paying attention to Zalt too, because a 2-0 Hui can combine his abilities very nicely with Curse of the Sad Mummy that we've seen so far in this game. Especially that artillery shot that Hui has can kill people from very long range. So this is another key member to focus on in addition to Baz.
Yeah, and he's been doing real well, as we said earlier. Severing Bolt is just so much damage, man, especially when you're the only one in there. It's crazy. If you hit 2 people, it does like no damage. If you hit 1 person, it does like all the damage. Castle moving up here.
Oh, great impale.
Double impale goes down. Low Jazz on the follow-up. The question is... No, there is no questions. Castle had way too much damage with the Pyroclasm, and Decoy falls.
Yeah, and there wasn't enough damage from Decoy and Low Jazz. So when both Zalt and Baz are missing from the play, you do have Leandri's Torment finished on Low Jazz, but it's not enough to be able to lock down Uni and Castle for enough damage to finish them off, especially when you don't have any healing reduction, and Uni can utilize all the abilities and tools in his kit to out-sustain you. So I think going forward, AMI is going to want to avoid 2v2 scenarios like that, because the 2v2 from the top jungle is simply much stronger from the Art of War.
Yeah, and you saw that damage there. It doesn't matter that Low Jazz had the Leandries. There's a little bit of bot lane scrap here, but Castle just feels like he's everywhere. Pocus a solid dodge, but he does get stunned up. Just means Yumichi gets more and more stacks. Oh, she's left to take that Severing Bolt alone. She's really low. Flocon is now trapped in no man's land. Double TP's coming through. Spiraling Despair onto Castle means he can't get in the fight. Decoy and Low Jazz have cut off Uni. Flocon and Yumichi are low. Zalt is keeping them all at bay, and Uni is the one who's getting chased down. Flash is down, but Pocus is there. He's got no idea. He's been taunted. He's been knocked up. He's taking a ton of damage. The World Ender is there. The magic damage shield isn't going to be enough. He's trying to heal up. Castle's doing what he can, and Low Jazz is going to fall. Pocus isn't going to be able to help, and a Decoy has to flash away. As Yumichi just wants to get a couple of stacks. Severing Bolt on the other side as Zalt wins a 1v1 and is now looking for a little bit more. Yumichi gets tagged. It's a double kill for Zalt. He's just running rough shot over the team, and Decoy is in here. Misses the impale, and a death. Finally, Zalt will go down. Castle is low. Decoy walking it out, but they don't want this fight to be over yet. Baz and Pocus are just so damn low. They can't get close, especially when Decoy's been tagged with the brand passive as Castle gets another one.
That is a very extended fight that Art is going to be very happy to take. They lost too, thanks to Zalt having quite the nice performance there in that fight on the Hui. Severing Bullets are really nice. The range that he has and the damage is quite incredible now with the double burn items that are in. But some healing reduction has to be purchased soon here. Otherwise, we are going to see Uni be able to delay for so long like they did in that last fight. What you would think would be a position where you would fall 1 versus 4 with no teammates in sight to help you, but that healing and the Maw of the Malmortius, which is I think was a Hex Drinker in that last fight, is more than enough to keep him alive in combination with Merc Treads as well. So healing reduction here, potentially. I don't know who's going to get it, but someone needs it or Aatrox is going to take over.
The problem is you can't pick it up if you're Zalt or Baz because you're the only sources of damage, and Decoy is probably only going to trigger his if he is the one who gets attacked. So I don't know who's going to be the one to buy it here, Ferris. All I know is that AMI looking for a creative angle onto Barlow, but he's got a double knockup, and Yumichi is starting to get a little strong here. Look at all the damage coming through. Mom as well. Curse of the Sad Mummy hits 4, but the only Sad Mummy is the dead mummy. As it means the Dragon will go the way of Art of War, their second of the game, and it feels like Castle has done enough to bridge the gap for Yumichi. It feels inevitable that Art of War will be strong and go into the late game.
Yeah, and this is pretty scary for AMI. They're looking down the barrel of a late game Smolder and Brand, as well as a Corki too. And they're getting dragons, they're taking towers, they're winning fights. This is going to be a tough problem to solve here as, well, they got a kill onto Barlow elsewhere. Nice. Now, that's something, but still, my point remains. This is a glaring issue right now, and they're going to have to hope that they get some good team fight coordination going forward.
Yeah, you need a little bit more of those. I like that they're splitting gold on Decoy and Baz here. Is Decoy playing, not Decoy, but Bouncer instead. The gold is still very close here. You can see the members that have the most. It's Zalt almost at 10k, but Castle's just got a little bit more. Really, the delta between the mid laners and the AD carries is really what you want to look at here. It's 1,500 in the mid lane. It's 1,100 in the bottom lane, but all of that can be erased once Yumichi hits her stack breakpoint.
Yeah, pretty much any game is salvageable once that Smolder hits the 225 stack spike. It's a very hard champion to deal
baby.
with.
We're almost there.
We're almost there, and it's going to be something that's very tough for AMI to deal with. There's so much damage from range that they have. Quirky rockets, Smolder executes, Mom, a Chew, all of these things that have to be dealt with here. You want your HP bar to be as healthy as possible if you're AMI heading into these fights. Baron's now live on the map, so these teams are playing towards this side of the map, and the tension once again starts to build here.
Really good on the side of AMI to pick up the standing gold that they can. They've taken all the outer turrets, so any little bit that you can get to make it as even as possible to try and turn a fight, you'll take it. Zalt is the one to watch on 3 items right now. A lot of burn and a lot of penetration, so you get tagged up if you're Barlow. All of a sudden, Zalt's going to do a little bit of damage to you. They're going to try to dump as much as they can onto Decoy, who's taking to about half HP, forced all the way off. Reinforcements have arrived, though, for AMI.
Yeah, they use the Pyroclasm. They don't get the mid tower. They force off Decoy, so they maintain priority in the mid lane. They're looking to continue the push and the siege for this tower, but AMI is here ready to defend vigilantly, so they're not going to be able to get it just yet. But it feels now that Art are the ones who are able to acquire priority around these lanes and this jungle. It's AMI who has to play more cautiously here. And you can see the priority that both teams are placing on this vision. They are fighting for it. They are throwing abilities at each other. They're pacing at max range. And I feel in the next few minutes here, or even the next few seconds, we're going to have a fight break out here as both of these teams are looking for the angles, looking for the poke. And it's all around this big purple worm.
Yeah, and it's so hard for the Art of War to be able to get in because of the sheer range that Zalt has, right? The only way that the Art of War can find a way in to clear out this vision, to secure vision of their own, is if Zalt is not with the rest of the team. And even Baz has a little bit of poke, right? You throw out a couple W's, and it's a pretty good time. And with Flocon up in the top side right now, AMI does have a man advantage, and they're looking to come around. Baz was just the bait, but they saw Uni walk up on wards. They're aware that he's here in the mid lane. Everybody is grouping up. The teleports didn't even need to be used from the top laners, as Yumichi has hit the stack break point. Keep that in mind. Uni doing what he can to clear out these wards against Low Jazz and Decoy. So he's getting a little over aggressive here. Castle on the side. They forced out Decoy. He's all alone. He's forced to flash away, and he's stuck in the back of the pit right now.
Oh, nice flash.
Nobody's here to help him out, but it's a 3-man impale. Low Jazz going over the wall. Curse of the Sad Mummy is there, and a lot of damage coming out from over the wall. Low Jazz gonna get bursted, but he's alive.
Oh.
Uni is burning away on the side. He's got nowhere to heal. Can he grab a honey fruit? He does. He's alive. It ends up being just a 1-for-1.
And it's the top laner down for AMI, but that Smolder is dead for Art. So really, in the grand scheme of things, because no team was able to capitalize by taking a Baron, this doesn't do a whole lot for the game state. This gives some time for Zalt now in the mid lane to get priority, farm these minions without any pressure on his back. He's now level 16, 3 items, Void Staff complete. So the penetration's there. We saw the amount of damage that Hui was able to deal, completely evaporating that Smolder in the fight. So again, I feel like, Yanni, we're just going to get the same sort of setup around Baron in mid lane.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, one thing to note, there's a lot of flashes down. Castle with no flash, Uni with no flash, Yumichi with no flash, Zalt and Baz, they have their summoners available. There's better combat power here for the side of AMI, and it looks like the Art of War, they might recognize that, and they might decide, hey, we need to give up this dragon. Zalt doing a lot of damage to Barlow. We talked about this penetration. Barlow's at half HP. Mom's going to come through, and it's just going to split the gap as AMI are nice and tightly packed together, not taking a whole lot of damage. Castle is going to be able to find out Pocus here. Pocus, he's about to get popped. They're putting everything they can into Uni, but it's not enough. Now the next target's going to be Decoy, who was left all alone. He is just a decoy as he falls despite the impale, and it's a 5v3, and it might be time for the Art of War to head to the Baron.
Certainly is. They have a 2-person advantage here, but they want to get that mid lane tower first.
Low Jazz going in, Curse of the Sad Mummy going down. Plenty of damage between Zalt and Baz means they pick off the Aatrox, but Zalt is low and has to back. This may have foiled a Baron opportunity.
It certainly did, and they get their prize in the mid tower, and they will get the Ocean Drake. This puts them on soul point. And so in 5 minutes time, this is going to be a problem that AMI is going to have to deal with. So now imagine this team with 3 very long-range champions and an Aatrox. Now give them an Ocean Soul here, Yanni. How much more difficult does that make this game for AMI? I think the answer is quite clear.
Yeah, it'd be real tough. I mean, it doesn't change the fact that Zalt's still going to be doing damage, but it's just more effective HP it really just reduces the ability of his burn, right? On the Blackfire torch, it just isn't going to be as noticeable, I should say, if the Ocean Soul does indeed go over to the Art of War. But again, I think it was mostly a faux pas that the Art of War stuck around a little too long and they paid for it. They only get the consolation prize when they had the option of both, man. But here we are anyway, as they're all grouped up on the top side. And it feels like it's just going to be Brawl 30 here, man. They only want to go and fight in this mid lane. The teams have thrown away trying to do creative things, except Decoy. What is he doing? He's over on the side. He gets popped up in the air, and Decoy living up to his name. But what was the plan?
He wanted to find a flank, but I saw in the tri-brush when he crossed that path, there were pings, red pings on his body, and he walked right through vision and did not know it. So Art was ready to foil that plan immediately, and now they have a 5v4 on the map. Uni is splitting in the bot side, certainly going to grab that tier 2, while Art is going to pressure the Baron as we've headed into a pause.
Ah, no. It was just getting good, Ferris. Start the game, Ferris. Caster, start game, please. It was getting good.
Don't have that power.
Yeah, unfortunately. But this is a really good spot here for the Art of War. You either just play the chicken dance over at Baron and let Uni do what he wants, get this bot into turret, get a nice infusion of gold, and potentially get even more, or he gets the teleport up here. But there is a bit of a problem. That teleport, he's going to have to anticipate. He can't wait for AMI to engage, because if AMI engages, they get a good one off. Guess what? By the time Uni 13 shows up, the rest of the team might be dead.
So it's on them to play slow and prevent that engage from happening. They want to play around Uni's split push timer there. And once Decoy respawns, then the situation might get better for AMI. But you're absolutely right. Playing on that Baron can be dangerous. In the 4v4, it's still even ground there. And a key frontline option in Uni is missing. But he's definitely going to get the tier 2. That was very low to begin with. And so for the moment, I feel that it can be Art that can leverage this potential Baron that they can take as a way to buy time for Uni to continue to apply pressure there in the side lane. And then Decoy is forced to respond. And then they can move elsewhere around the map, maybe to the top lane, maybe right back to the mid lane. But like you said, this could end up in a whole fight for the Baron. This could end up in disaster for Art. It might end up being all that they need to close out the game, because Smolder is very strong, as we know. We're at that point where we're getting down to the very tense points.
Yeah, I think my favorite part about this game is we have no idea what's going to happen, right? Like, we know that, Art of War is starting to hit their break points a little bit, right? Brand super strong. Obviously, Smolder still getting there now, needs to catch up when it comes to items. But on the other side, you just see the pure damage that's coming out from Zalt, who, Zalt has had a really good OQ as a whole, has had a really good summer, to be honest with you, and is showing up in this series as one of the bright mid laners in open qualifiers. There was in open qualifiers this year, there was it felt like a huge vacuum of mid laners. I'll say this, mid lane was looking pretty weak, I must say. However, a lot of the mid laners have stepped up and have shown that they are legitimate frontline players. We have two of them in this game, and Flocon and Zalt, who have risen to the occasion over the course of the year. And Zalt in this game is putting himself on the map as, I need to be on a top team, because he is making AMI a top team. I'm going to be quite honest with you. This team is seeing a lot of their success because of him. He has done so much of the heavy lifting.
And he's got a little more heavy lifting to do, because right now AMI is in a bit of a tricky spot. We talk so much about the power that Art has. So Zalt's going to have to perform better than he's ever done before here to get it done with the rest of the squad. And you said he's part of the reason why they're a top team. Well, they certainly are. Reminder to all of you guys that are watching at home, Apex Mission Impossible is very close to that top 4 threshold there, which will qualify you for the gauntlet. They're sitting just behind Ducky Getters and Polestar. And just on an update for the pause here, Low Jazz has disconnected, and so waiting on the reconnect there, which is why we are here back at the caster desk.
I thought you had an update on the series scores. I was like, ooh, you're going to tell me who won between Ducky Getters and Gentle Hearts. No, it's just the Low Jazz
info.
update. You know, nobody cares about the low Jazz update. He'll come back when he comes back. But I'm trying to see if I can find any current updates right now. Let's see. Let's take a look.
Yeah, it's all
Sorry,
about if the
we're
sheet
going
is
we're going
updated.
on the fly here. I don't know who won. Well, it looks like
That's if the series is over
okay.
too.
The Ducky Getters did end up defeating Gentle Hearts in a 2-0 sweep. And Polestar defeated Maelstrom Esports 2-0 as well. Polestar looked particularly strong in their series, but yeah, that is it for the story of Gentle Hearts for this year. They are not going to be able to qualify, so all it takes is Apex Mission Impossible to get the job done here, and they put themselves in a really good spot.
They certainly do. And the pressure is going to build for these next few minutes here because with all that riding on their shoulders as they play these games, it may affect their performance here. But that is what they are going to be thinking about in these next plays. And so I've just gotten word that an unpause has happened. So we will be getting back into the game soon. And here we go. We are here
We
in the
back,
game.
baby.
We got it.
So, Art of War just taking as much control of the Baron as they can. The turret already went down on the bottom side. Uni gets that, but Barlow taking a half HP because god damn Zalt does a lot of damage. We talked about it ad nauseum, but we're going to continue to talk about it because he just does a lot. And the poke out of him and Baz, even if two people eat the Severing Bolt, it's too much, but an inhibitor turret does go down. Uni takes that one, and he's looking to teleport from behind here. Barlow doing what he can. He gets taunted up. Zalt and Baz are split from the rest of the team, but here comes a follow-up teleport out of Decoy. Look at all the damage coming down. They managed to blow up Uni. It's a 4v5,
big
and
ult.
it's a double impale onto key targets, and Zalt puts them in their graves, and he is the one to carry AMI. They take the fight, and the Baron is theirs.
That was an unfortunate teleport from Uni, a bit too overextended, too overconfident in his ability to tank the entirety of the AMI roster, and then a great impale from Decoy sets up Zalt to deal the big damage. You and I in the pause here, Yanni, we're talking about how good this player is and what he needs to do to push this team over the goal line, and these are the performances that we need. But also shout out to the rest of the players because that was finally a really great fight for AMI that they desperately needed, and now they have the Baron in their hands.
Yeah, it was just perfect. AMI turning on Uni at the proper time, even with Zalt and Baz not quite there. Baz using his ultimate to make sure he gets next to this Aatrox to do as much damage as possible. It doesn't matter how much sustain you have if you don't have time to sustain.
Certainly. And yeah, they don't even need that healing reduction like we said. Or actually, they do have it. I don't know if that was purchased in the fight. But the person that is going to be picking that up is Baz. So they have that option now for themselves, Yanni. So Uni will have to play even more careful here with all the extra damage that is being unlocked here for AMI. And let's see what they do now with this Baron. The first tower that's going to be under siege is this tier 2. It's only Uni. So this one is definitely going to fall.
They're going to put everything into Uni. He heals some, but it doesn't matter. That is a huge pick for AMI. We talked about it. When they get Barons, they like to hard engage, using the Curse of the Sad Mummy on just one target. They're going to take an inhibitor turret as well. It's a 5v4. Mom coming through, doing a little bit of damage. Zalt's at half HP, but Barlow is burning away. He's low, but Low Jazz gets executed. The Impale comes down. They're trying to do what they can, and they blow up Castle as well. There's a lot of low health bars, though, as Yumichi is getting close to burning them away. AMI will finally back off with Dragon up in 25 seconds and Low Jazz down. Listen, they have an opportunity to get this Ocean Soul.
They do. Castle is also dead too, but Uni is respawning. No teleport available though. So I feel like this is going to be an awkward situation here, Yanni, because both junglers are dead for this. So we could see something very awkward come through. But right now it's AMI with priority. I don't think Art really has enough gas in the tank here to go contest this. There's too much riding on it. It's not the soul for AMI when they secure it. It's only Drake number 2. And if they die, that could spell the end of the game for them and their season here at the NACL OQ. Number 2, So, wow, we've seen quite the turn of events here in the last few minutes, haven't we?
Oh yeah, AMI were not looking so hot, and then all of a sudden they were on fire. They have done enough to be able to claim a 2,000 gold lead at this point. They secure the dragon, so it's 4.5 more minutes that Art of War has to wait. And now it's time for AMI to turn this game fully in their favor and put this one away. Zalt on 4 items, has his Rabadons, has a fully stacked Dank Seal in the inventory. I wonder if he's going to pick up the Ego book. I kind of want to see it. And now it's time for them to pick some other places. You know, they didn't get the inhibitor on the bot side, but now they want to head to the top side. They want to be able to take this top inner turret, claim some more standing gold on the map.
Yeah, and standing gold is very important for them. We've talked a lot about Yumichi's stacks, but now that he's at the threshold, aside from just getting extra gold here, the Smolder's not getting any crazy stronger, right? There's no other upgrades for him.
There's no damage there. I mean,
Yeah,
sure, it's
exactly.
just a chew, but it didn't do anything.
Right. And so, but for AMI, on the other hand, their items is where they really start to get stronger. And yeah, look at that damage from Zalt. So honestly, the time is now for Art. They have their power spikes, but they just don't, it doesn't feel like they have enough right now. And they're going to have to stop the onslaught here impending onto their tier 2 and bot, or in top side.
Well, Barlow was able to heal up due to Warmogs, so he is back to full HP. The top laners are brawling out in the mid lane here, and AMI just playing safe, playing within themselves. They didn't get a whole lot of damage on that turret, but they know when it's time to leave.
They do, now rotating towards mid. They're going to push out these waves, maybe hit some resets here. That's certainly what Pocus is going to do. I tripped up on that name. I told myself I wouldn't do it, but I did.
Happens to us all.
Now
my
I will
friend.
shame
Happens
I will
to
shame
us all.
myself. I won't try and hide it. But yeah, we have sort of a stalemate in the game now. I'm waiting for 2:45 on the Ocean Drake, but more soon to come is 1:20 on the Baron. And AMI found success last time. Can they replicate that?
Yeah, it's just a matter of them getting in and getting these wards in deep. Pocus getting backed up by Zalt, Barlow being backed up by Castles. It's time for them to start clearing out this vision, securing some of their own. They do have a numbers advantage for at least a little bit longer. But now it's a true 4v4. With the Scuttle Crab secured, that does mean that AMI is going to be able to clear out all the vision and know where all the other vision is. So no sneaky plays. It's just a matter of, you know, it feels like maybe Decoy has to go on another secret agent mission, you know, perhaps, and maybe once again try to get behind the Art of War. It didn't go so well the last time we saw it.
Certainly did not. There goes the Banshee's Veil off of Castle.
It's big.
Here comes the poke,
Focus
and
is
here's the
going
big
in.
engage.
Will he get the taunt? It's a triple taunt.
Huge.
Jazz onto the backside, and that's all they need. Baz B is taking out Yumichi, and the Flocon's going to be the next target, and he's low, but he manages to kill Baz, but it doesn't matter. There's nobody left alive. Uni is trying to sustain. He's starting to sustain, but Zalt has plenty of damage and will be able to finish him off. It is a 4 for 2 in favor of Apex Mission Impossible.
And I think it's very important that Flocon won that 1 versus 1 on the top side of the fight against Baz, because otherwise that would have been all 5 dead and probably the end of the game with Baz's DPS. So that was the most important part of that fight. If Flocon dies, the game ends and it's an AMI 2-0. Nonetheless, it's still good for them because they secure the Baron, they win the fight. Now they have more time to play with this buff to crack open the base some more, but it could have been all over thanks to heroics from Flocon. It's Art that's still in it.
Somehow, some way, the Art of War is still alive. 40 seconds until this dragon. They have to get these wards down. They have to be the first ones here. But the problem is they need to have an answer for the Baron push in the mid lane, because AMI can devote 1 member, and these minions are going to be hard to take down. You know, Castle can't be the one. He does magic damage. His Decoy is just big bodying Art of War out of the dragon pit.
And there was the Banshees once again. They are going hard for this. They got to be careful.
He's down to half. He's going to get caught out here. He's flashing away. More damage coming down. Uni trying to get in. He's CC locked pretty hard, but now it's time to sustain as Low Jazz is cut off, and he goes down. Decoy is low, but look on the other side. It's
Baz is
Baz
huge.
winning a 1v1 against Castle. Uni needs to sustain more on top of Zalt, but the spiraling despair burst isn't enough. He's still sustaining, but we didn't see Baz on the backside, who manages to annihilate damn near everybody, and only Flocon is the one who's left standing, and Baz is looking to hunt his ass down too.
He is. They just need to kill the Corki, and then they have a free entry to end the game. But the question is right now, Yanni, do they feel confident enough as this group of three to just finish it anyways? Flocon doesn't have Flash here. The ultimate not available from Baz. They get the inhibitor, but can they finish him off?
Decoy trying to force him away and just does so much damage. Pocus and Decoy forcing him back while Zalt and Baz take down the structure.
That's it.
Barlow's back, but it don't matter. AMI is back in the elimination stage.
And what a game from Zalt specifically, but also from AMI, because Baz was popping off in those later game fights. And they brought it together. They sort of found themselves in a little bit of turbulence there in the mid game. They were losing some key fights. We were talking about, Smolder's getting very close to 225 stacks. That execute is very powerful. But that fight around the first Baron Yanni, that's what turned the tide for them. The pick onto Uni, the coordination, the impales, and Zalt and Baz. They were everything.
Yep, they were. Baz came up so huge at the end of that game, right? Where it was like, oh, it's the Zalt show, it's the Zalt show. Zalt got them there. Baz put them over the top. These guys have shown that they are really high quality carries that any OQ team would love to have. But Ferris, that will do it for us here. I believe there's still some games going on, so we're gonna sit tight. We're gonna raid you over to whichever stream we're gonna go to. I gotta be completely honest, I have no ideas what games are currently going on, but thank you so much for watching here at the Salt Mine, being together for some great homegrown North American League of Legends, and we'll hopefully see you on the next stream that we go to.
Heck yeah.